All right, Debbie, good morning. Happy
Good
Friday
morning.
to everybody. I know everyone's coming in right now. If you're coming in and you can click on chat, just let us know what city you're in or let us know you can hear us okay. And we're going to get started in the next 30 seconds. Debbie, it was a brisk, cold morning on the workout this morning, 45 degrees,
You're
and fall is in the air in Salt Lake City, Utah.
wow.
So,
Well, last
yeah.
week we're in Newport Beach and it's never more than 80-ish, and we had a 5-day last week, but now we're back to normal. So
Listen, I cannot bring up any weather for the next 6 months with you. I think
yeah.
all the beauty out there. That's
Well,
fantastic. Porter,
what's so exciting though about this time of the year is kids are back in school if you have children. Labor Day holiday is past, summer vacations are past, and I've been talking to a lot of the coaching clients about the fact that this is our ramp into 2025, that everything that you all start to do over the next 3 months will hopefully have an immediate payoff, but ultimately many of those things, those activities will be paying off in the first quarter of the new year. So Shaun, if they give themselves a running start and whatever actions, activities, lead gen they plan to do, like we all plan to diet on Monday, right? So
yeah,
instead of
yeah.
planning to do this in the new year, let's start this party now. And the fact that they're here with us today, I mean, clearly they have some intention on doing the work.
They get it. And I hope I'm not stealing thunder, but you and I just mentioned before we started the webinar today, there's some really exciting things happening in our world, right? This real estate world of ours. And here we are a couple weeks from Q4, and the next 90 days are going to be so crucial to set up an amazing 2025 with what we expect to be rate drops. If we can just get in front of people and start working and nurturing leads, what we're going to talk about today. So really exciting things, Debbie. Like I'm very bullish about the future.
Yeah, and the reason I thought this would be a good topic for us is as we, before you know it, we're going to be heading into holiday season. Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, all the holidays that you may celebrate in your culture and in your world, and going into the new year, and, all the people that you'll be seeing and the events that you'll be at. Sometimes there's missed opportunity there. So I thought, let's talk about how to graciously find leads and nurtures in social situations. Because, Shaun, just like when they use the many tools of Landvoice and Prospect, and someone says, I'm not moving for 2 years, but they have a true plan to move. If we can put them in that CRM, if we can nurture them over time, we're going to eventually need business in 2 years and 1 year and 6 months. So wherever there are people, there are leads. We just need to be aware and paying attention.
And I like what you just said there, Debbie. In fact, a lot of people, even on our sales teams, if they tell us 2 years, we're probably going to put them down for 6 to 9 months, right? And check
Exactly.
in with them
Cut
every
it
month.
way down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, why does that happen? Well, are they lying to you? Maybe. Maybe because they want to keep you at arm's distance so you don't pressure them. Often, though, what happens if someone says, I would like to move to be near my grandchildren, but I'm not going to do it for about 2 years. But that seed of thought has taken root, right? And they go visit their grandkids and they get emotional about it. And before you know it, it is 6 months and they've listed their house. And you call them back 2 years from now, and it's like, what happened? Well, cut the time down. That's in half or in a third. Better off to follow up more often. But let's jump into the deck and talk about finding these leads and nurtures in social situations. Guys, when I got into the business at 18, I didn't have a sphere that could buy anything. So my broker said to me, when you're out anywhere you go, you are going to need to be looking for leads and opportunity. Now, at that time, and for many years, I was with Century 21. and they had the gold jackets, right? And the gold jacket's a much nicer color now, but back then it was that really ugly color that if you had that jacket on, everybody knew you were Century 21. And I would be in line at the grocery store, and people would ask me questions about real estate, or at the car wash, and they would ask me questions about real estate. But I really wasn't great at how do I transition that conversation into something. And I remember going to, this is going way back as he's way retired now, Tom Hopkins. He was a sales trainer back in the day. And Tom said, when people ask you out in the public, how's the market? He said, you should say it's unbelievable. Because he said it could be unbelievably bad or good. Unbelievable covers it all. So I used to say that. And then it struck me one day, that's not a good thing to say. And here's why. It doesn't open any conversation. So everywhere you go, there are potentially leads. So when someone says to you, which by the way, please wear your name tag, your career apparel, people will stop you. They love to talk about real estate. And when they say, how's the market? You know what you can say? Actually, it's a very opportunistic market. Depending on strategy and where you're looking, there's good opportunities for buyers. There's great opportunities for sellers. Is there an opportunity that you had a question about? I'd be happy to answer it for you. See, that opens the conversation. So wearing your career apparel gives them an excuse to reach out. We're here in Newport Beach, and Newport Coast, super close, is where Kobe Bryant's family lives, very exclusive area, gated. And there's an agent that I coached for many years, a Keller Williams agent, who farmed that community. Well, you can't door knock in there, and you can't do events. It's pretty hard to get many phone numbers. But at the bottom of the hill, there is a Starbucks. And so every morning from 7 to 9, with the career apparel on, sitting at a table by where people wait to pick up their coffee, not on his phone, just, casually working on his computer, greeting people as they picked up their coffee every day. And that was his version of door knocking. And he met awesome people that lived in the neighborhood, some that did not live in the neighborhood. But basically, he just put his body in the right spot in his career apparel, was approachable, and had opportunistic conversations. It's not that hard, and it doesn't cost a penny.
Debbie, Starbucks is a big one. I was blown away. I met a real estate agent in Dallas a couple of years ago. She was a top performing agent in her area. And I said, hey, where'd your business come from? She said, oh, my sphere. And I'm like, well, how big's your sphere? And I was talking through it a little bit. And what I learned is she was this networking pro at church. Like, she met all of her people at church, and it was a really big kind of mega church down there. But we want to be in these places where we can have these conversations. And she was really good at what she did at building relationships and then asking the right questions in the right places, right?
Yeah. And so I think the concern always is, I don't want to be pushy, right? But, if you just show up and are interested in who you're speaking to, and they ask a question, and you ask, what do they do for a living? And you ask, where do they live? And how do they like it? And you make it all about them. It actually makes it pretty easy to have the conversation. So Shaun, if we'll go to the next couple slides, because I know we've got to watch our time here. So
got to watch your time. Can I put in one other plug, Debbie? I know everybody's got their apparel and their swag. We've got a really cool company we've been working with recently, Debbie, called Brand Co. And they do such a good job on swag. This is my hat. I've ordered a lot of swag. I've paid for a lot of KW gear, Remax gear, all of it. And the people at Brand Co, in fact, call and talk to Sheila. She'll give you phenomenal rates on any apparel you're looking for. So definitely wear the apparel and get really good gear. Right.
And your clients love swag, right? So it's kind of a fun little gift to give them. So you can find those leads without being salesy or aggressive. So let's go to the church one for a moment, because I know that
That one's sensitive, right?
yeah, I don't want to do that. I don't want to work my church. Okay. However, and that's up to you, by the way, totally up to you. But if you chose to, maybe there's some event or activity, speaking of swag, and you could donate water bottles with your label on it. Or at Forward Coaching, we have those sunglasses, right? We take those to the events. You could, maybe there's a fun run and you're handing out sunglasses. Or some people I've seen that would say, I will teach it to any of the members who want to learn to invest in real estate or buy their first home. And I will give back a portion of my commission to the church. So it may or may not be an approach for you, but there's always a way to show up as a contributor, to that group, to that community, as a wise advisor. Lead with providing great value and content, because then you feel better about it, right? You feel better about the approach.
I'm glad you brought it up. It's definitely not my style at church, but it was this lady's, and she did really well with it.
Well, and there's a client for many years in La Jolla, California. And, if you're going to get involved in groups, her thought was, I'm going to get involved in something I really care about and enjoy. And she happened to be a great gardener. So there was a beautiful nursery. Every Wednesday, they would have a speaker and a luncheon, and it was $50 to go. But most of the people that attended, 50 to 75, were from that community. She did about 60 million in volume a year. Of course, those homes are more expensive, so it's not tons of units, but a nice volume just from the people she met at that garden club. So whether it's a charity, one of our clients is a big contributor of time and money to the Hollywood Bowl restoration. Just show up in the things that you enjoy or believe in, then you'll be real. You know what I mean? Not a phony. You're interested. People love to talk about real estate. So become a market expert so that you'll have interesting information to share. A lot of our clients, Shaun, will keep data and current market reports and things on their phone. So if they happen to be at a party and someone says, well, what's going on in the market? Oh, I'm so glad you asked. Take a look at this chart. I just got this. It shows you where home sales are at. And one of my clients said his wife always gets annoyed because he does that at parties. And before you know it, they've got a little circle around them. And she's like, there he is in the corner doing a seminar. But people love it. Our client, Ernie Carswell in Beverly Hills, he's Katy Perry and Fergie's realtor, plus a lot of others he can't disclose. And he said that he always has 10 great properties to talk about, kind of sexy, cool properties, even if they're not his own. Like, hey, I just toured Barbara Streisand's house on a broker tour. Do you know she has a 24 karat gold toilet? And they're like, what? And he's like, where do you guys live? Oh, by the way, I love that area. How do you like it? Well, if you ever were to leave that area, what would be next for you? And if they say, well, we're not going to go anywhere, we're pretty happy, no problem. You know what? I'd love to do something for you. I guess I'd call it my information loop. My friends, my family, my great past clients, I send them bulletins and updates, and I tell them what's hot and what's happening in the real estate market. Why don't I include you in that loop? No obligation, no cost, but you'll love the information. What's the best email for you? Perfect. Now, if I needed to text you something super interesting, where should I text you? And once in a while, I do mail out something special in the direct mail. What's your home address? Fabulous. I'm going to send this to you as you see it pop up. If you need me, please feel free to reach out anytime. You know, some of us know Chris Heller, the home seller in San Diego, and did a lot of other things in the real estate space. I coached his team for a long time, and he told me once they had 20,000 people in their nurture campaigns. So not active buyer sellers, not past clients in Sphere, nurture. Because he had a radio show, did events in the community, they did tons of open houses. Everyone went into that nurture category if they weren't a buyer seller. And he said every month they get 7 to 9 listings of people who would just say, gosh, I've been getting your stuff for years and now I'm ready. So ask a lot of questions about their business, about where they live. I love Ben Kinney's question. I'm curious, what are your real estate related plans for the future? And that could mean they want to go somewhere else and buy a vacation home. They want to buy investments in Cleveland. Like, who knows? What are they looking to do? And be an advocate for them to get them to a great agent. They're happy and you get a referral fee if they're leaving your area. And I think sometimes we forget about that. It's like, oh, they're not doing anything local. And then we just give up on it. So let's say you're meeting strangers for the first time. You know, because I do all this stuff on stage and Zoom, you might think I'm like a super social person, but I am absolutely not. And I don't love going into a room full of strangers and having to work the room. Now, some of you guys might like it. Some of you probably share my thought. It's not the most comfortable thing in the world. So when I have to do that, here's the deal I make with myself. I tell myself, okay, I'm going to have at least 5 awesome conversations with people I don't know. And then when I have my 5, I can leave if I want to. Okay. So the goal is have 5 great conversations, capture 5 nurtures, potentially a lead, and then I get to leave. Now, sometimes by the time I get to 5, now I'm kind of on a roll and I'm feeling better and I stay longer, but that just sort of works in my mind. So if I, Shaun, meet you, I don't know you, and I say, hey, Shaun, I've never, we've never talked before. I've seen you here, but I've really never gotten a chance to get to know you. Tell me, what brought you to this group? What do you do for a living? How's business? Well, what are your plans for the new year to expand your business? Gosh, that's exciting. Hey, where do you live? Are you close by? Oh, sorry. It's a real estate hazard, I guess. I'm in real estate and I always love to know, where do people live and how do they like it there? Now, even if I didn't say that, if I ask Shaun about himself 3, 4, 5 questions, most people are polite enough that they're going to turn around or curious enough and say, what do you do? Oh, I'm a real estate professional. I help people build their wealth by purchasing and investing in real estate. And usually they're going to say, how's the market? Right? Very
Absolutely.
opportunistic market. Now we're in the conversation.
Debbie, I love that you mentioned your personality because I think a lot of people can relate to that, right? Like, well, I'm just a little bit more quiet, a little bit more reserved. I tell my kids all the time because I'm similar to that in a lot of ways, and I have a couple of kids that are a little bit reserved, and I think you've heard this from me before, but you think about Beyonce, she's very reserved, but she's got this stage presence, right? That once she just flips a switch, she gets on stage, and for us in the real estate business, we got to do what you just said. We got to kind of flip a switch. Kind of turn whether we're extroverted or introverted, we got to turn something on and be curious about people and ask the right questions. And I hope everybody's writing those questions down. You've shared a few real good,
and a lot of this is all in the script. So if you want to pop the scripts link back in the chat box or tell them how to get those, because I actually have the script for meeting people in social situations. That's in the script book. So you're welcome to have that link.
And I know everyone's going to ask, we've sent it out before, but what we'll do is we'll grab those scripts and send it out in the email with this recording again, so everybody has those.
Okay, perfect. You know,
Yep.
there's a saying someone said to me once, because I remember saying years ago, well, I really like to work with direct referrals and people I know. And they said, that's great. But if you really want to grow your sales career, you have to realize there's more people in the world you don't know than people you do know. And sometimes you're going to have to talk to some strangers. I'm like, okay, fine, right? But guys, the easiest thing is just ask them about themselves, and they will turn around and ask you what you do. I help people build their wealth by investing in real estate. I'm a real estate professional. Now, some of you might be like, well, what if they ask me, how long have you been in business? And I'm brand new. I'm in my first year and I love it. You know, it's more curiosity than a judgment, right, guys? And, you know, and sometimes I'm scared to say how long we've been in the real estate industry because it makes me sound really old because it's been right. But it started when
Debbie,
I was 18.
curiosity, and then this statement. I hope everybody screenshots this. You write it down, you put it on your mirror, because this is what we lead into and transition into that conversation about what we do, right?
Absolutely. So we already talked about what to say when they say, how's the market? So please remember, moving forward, it's a very opportunistic market. Thank you for asking. What questions do you have? What opportunities are you interested in? We open it up, right? Open up that conversation and then offer to include them in your information loop. Make it special. I do it for friends, for family, my awesome past clients. Don't say, I can add you to my marketing list. That's not exciting. I can bring you into my information loop. No cost,
Have an
no
exclusive group.
obligation, exclusive group.
Yeah.
By the way, what's the best email to send you the reports? Well, if it's red hot and I need to text you something, don't say if I need to call you. People are willing to be texted more than called. So if I want to text, and if I send something direct mail, your home address. So offer to include them. Remember though, these contacts are so much more valuable to you when you come back to your CRM, hopefully Brivity, because I know there's lots of Brivity users here. You put them in that appropriate category. Are they a nurture? Are they a lead? You add great notes. You set your next call back. You set up your market reports, whatever you need to do while that is fresh in your mind. I always made a rule for myself, and we're really fanatics about this here at Forward, that within the business day, so if I'm out at a networking event at night, the next morning, one of the first things, I'm going to get that information in that CRM so I don't lose it. Because we've all done that, you know, written a lead on a napkin and found it in the floorboard of our car 3 months later, right?
Definitely.
So if this was helpful, and as we said, you're on the runway, right? For 2025, a lot of exciting things happening. And if you feel it's time to have a coach, remember, we have no contract. We make it easy to get involved with us. And I'm happy to have a conversation with you, no strings attached, about your business and where you'd like to go in 2025 and how can coaching help you. And you know, Shaun, we are super passionate about what we do here. We love it. And I just really want, we've been through a lot. You know, you think back to some of the crazy stuff in the last couple of years, right? I mean, to start with COVID, which turned out okay for the real estate industry. We didn't know that though. Then you've got rising interest rates and all kinds of stuff going on. And now
low inventory.
We're moving into something that could be some really nice years ahead. So it's time. Get your lead gen wheel fired up. Talk to Landvoice. You don't have to, Shaun always tell them, they don't have to do every single thing that Landvoice offers. They can use it like a menu, pick the things that work for them, and come back to it and pick another in the future if they choose.
So many tremendous opportunities out there. Debbie, we're big fans of Forward Coaching. Love having you on every couple of weeks. Really appreciate the content today. If we can help you at Landvoice or Forward, we're happy to do that. But we really are grateful for you guys to spend a few minutes with us every other Friday.
And let's go. Hey guys, go talk to some people. Remember, where there are people, there are leads. All right, guys, have a great day. Bye-bye.
Debbie, thank you. See you, everybody.